I realized yesterday that it's not just some on the left who would rather not hear any more about Donald Trump. It's also some on the right, some actual Trumpists who simply want us to forget about the things that Donald Trump did. On the left, many people are just sick of Donald Trump, and that's understandable. Many on the left want there to never be another Donald Trump in power, and I'm with you 100%. But as I've said before, pretending that Donald Trump doesn't still, at least for now, control the Republican Party would be factually inaccurate. It would not be based in reality. We would do ourselves a disservice by not recognizing that. But there's another side to this. Arwa Madawi wrote a really good piece in The Guardian called "Trump's Enablers Want Us to Forget What They Did." We can't let that happen. And in this article, Arwa accurately points out, listen, Donald Trump made $1.6 billion personally during his 4 years as president. His family profited handsomely from the presidency. I could list the individual atrocities for hours, suggesting the injection of bleach to treat COVID, lying about him separating himself from his businesses, on and on and on. But Arwa points out something really important, which is that by ignoring these horrible people when they leave office, we have already allowed many of them to at least partially successfully rehabilitate their images and the perception of their time in office. John Boehner is an example. John Boehner now has a memoir where he criticizes George W. Bush, and he's now doing some lobbying for cannabis legalization. And there are people who are now starting to see John Boehner less unfavorably or more favorably than they once did. But John Boehner admits that actually he voted for Donald Trump. He enabled lots of the things that he criticizes George W. Bush for. He shouldn't be allowed to rehabilitate himself. George W. Bush himself, who now appears on Ellen DeGeneres' show, is friends with Ellen, paints his paintings and all this stuff. He was a horrifying war criminal. Yes, he was notably and cartoonishly, he was slightly less notably and cartoonishly unhinged than Trump, but he was absolutely and completely horrible. And what happens, as Arwa Madawi points out, is that when you start ignoring them because they're gone and you're happy that they're gone, which is understandable, that part makes sense, they start publishing the memoirs to rewrite history. They become known for the best or the most benign elements of their past rather than the absolutely disgusting and monumental things that they did. You sort of need, quite frankly, a continued narrative about their atrocities to prevent that rehabilitation from happening. And that is how we get to the Trumpists don't want Trump remembered for inciting the January 6th riots, for his total failure on coronavirus, for the disastrous response to the Puerto Rican hurricane, for giving classified information to foreign officials, including a Russian spy recruiter in the Oval Office, for his love affairs with various authoritarians around the world, as we talked about earlier on in the show. You may have already forgotten about some of these things, and it's only been a few months. Trump demonized immigrants, but so did George W. Bush. Do people remember that? Is that part of the narrative, or has Bush successfully rehabilitated himself enough where we no longer think about that? There is a sort of straight line, as Arwa writes, from all of these people. As I've said before, and I talked about on Monday, you can go, Reagan, Gingrich, Bush, Trump, and with many others in between. So the right also has an interest in defining how Trump is remembered or not remembered. And that's another part of the reason why we can't allow the absurdity and the insanity to be forgotten. And where Trump is different in the sense that he's, a different age out of office. He's older out of office than some others have been. He seems less aware in a particular way of how to rehabilitate his image. It may be a different thing, but it's important to remember that as much as we are glad Trump is gone, the right has a significant interest, even potentially so that Trump can run again in 2024, in us forgetting what Donald Trump was. Important not to forget it.